You have a helicopter in front of you. Stand by. Michael, look at those speeds right now. We're seeing speeds in excess of 100 miles per hour at times. News Chopper 4 Alpha, we picked up this pursuit here coming out of the Whittier area. Right now, this vehicle is accelerating. Let me tell you, this is what we know. This originated out of the Joshua Tree area. We understand it was just a traffic stop. We don't know what the exact reason was, but the vehicle subsequently failed to yield out of the Joshua Tree area. That's nearly 100 miles, so we're not too sure exactly as to the capacity of the gas tank and how much further this vehicle can go. But what we can tell you is we're on the 605 freeway southbound right now, approaching the 91, and look at those speeds, 101 miles per hour. Very dangerous speed here. We may even, I did hear possibly that there's multiple people in this vehicle. We're still trying to get confirmation there, but this high-speed pursuit here where News Chopper 4 Alpha is, we're coming into the Lakewood area. Yeah, really fast, and if we're going to see speeds of this kind of caliber, you want to see it on the freeway, wide open spaces, essentially with less potential to cause any serious injury to pedestrians or anything of that nature on surface streets. But right now, southbound 605 approaching the 91 freeway in the making this transition here now. Actually, it looks like we're making the transition to the westbound side of the 91 freeway. So where this driver is going, we're not too sure. We understand this pursuit originated out of the Joshua Tree area near Palm Springs, continued on the westbound 10 freeway onto the southbound 605, and now we're onto the westbound side of the 91 freeway. Again, I'm hearing unconfirmed reports of several occupants, possibly a minor in this vehicle right now. So again, we're following this pursuit in the carpool lane now, about 88 miles per hour west on the 91, coming into the Lakewood Long Beach area. We have multiple ground units here. I'm trying to turn up the scanner here so I can get some more information, but definitely we do have multiple units right now here following this this vehicle, as well as with helicopters. We do have air support here. Earlier was out of San Bernardino County, so I'm not sure the agency, but right now we do have air support as well as the ground units, several California Highway Patrol units. Again, the jurisdiction was out in the Coachella Valley area, Palm Springs, came down probably Highway 62 there out of Joshua Tree onto the westbound 10 freeway and came through some many counties, San Bernardino County into LA County, West 91 freeway there. We're approaching Lakewood Boulevard, and look at those speeds. At times, Michael, it's touching about 105 miles per hour. Oh yeah, I can tell you, wide open spaces, inviting high dangerous speeds. Look, as I pull out, you can see the vehicle's even picking up some more speed right now. We're seeing speeds topping well over 100 miles per hour. Now, we do have law enforcement closely behind. We don't know what the circumstances pertaining to this vehicle is, who it's registered to, and so forth. Dispatchers, we always commend them. They do a wonderful job behind the scenes. Dispatchers already have all the vital information, passing it along to officers, whether or not they know who the registered owner is. Are they contacting the family members? Are they actually trying to find out who is driving this vehicle and what is their frame of mind? Why is this person not pulling over and driving so recklessly and dangerously here on the streets in now we're approaching the Long Beach area? Yeah, and you know what, Michael, for an expired registration, again, you would have to think about it. There might be more to it we are unaware of right now. I don't think they would continue a dangerous high-speed pursuit just for expired registration. We're coming into a little bit of traffic here right now. We're still on the 91 freeway westbound. We're almost approaching the 710 freeway. You see how this driver starts to slow down as he or she comes up on some traffic here. You're talking about those tinted windows. That is always an issue. Believe it or not, it appears the driver's side window is not tinted. That's actually legal. So you could see the dark tinted windows in the back. That's legal. It still makes it a challenge for law enforcement officers. It's when they can't see the driver and those front windows, that is against the law in the state of California, and this is probably one of the primary reasons officers can't see the driver. But News Chopper 4 Alpha, we're pulling up a little closer right now, so we're going to try to get a glimpse and see the mannerism and exactly what this person is doing. Michael, we just passed the 710 freeway, approaching Long Beach Boulevard. Look how dangerous these speeds are. This driver definitely reckless and careless for all other drivers on this freeway. And whether or not, if there are any other occupants in this vehicle, this driver is putting their lives at stake as well. Very dangerous, coming up on about 107 miles per hour. Long Beach Boulevard looks like he's going to exit, he or she's going to exit Long Beach Boulevard right here. Well, if this driver can maintain control of the vehicle, this actually might be the Alameda exit. This is going to be a game changer as far as how dangerous this is. Is this driver going to start running lights and so forth? What they can do is put it in a tracking mode. This actually puts us in a perfect position to see the driver. A lot of times they want to see the mannerism of the driver. Is this driver agitated? What are they doing? And this person just appears to be concentrating, driving recklessly through intersections there. Just crossing over the freeway there. I believe that's the 710 freeway, so he might be coming up underneath us. But you can see this driver still driving pretty fast here. Let me pull up one of our street visions here so we can start seeing some of the streets here. Just bear with me, and we'll be able to see that is Santa Fe Avenue. This is Santa Fe Avenue right off the 91 freeway. He's going to come underneath us, but our pilot, Aldo Bentavia, is going to maneuver this helicopter here. Again, just to make sure we get a good shot here. You got eyes on him? Okay, good deal. Are we going southbound? Which direction are we going? Southbound? Thank you. I need some AC. Thank you. Yeah, probably they're going to handle the, right now we're in sheriff's jurisdiction. Talking to my pilot, I kind of get turned around here sometimes. I'm looking at the monitor. So we are headed southbound. Southbound on Santa Fe. If you can picture this, the 710 freeway is to the left of the driver. So we're parallel to the 710 freeway. So what's happening right now, dispatchers are on the phone. They're contacting the agencies, probably the sheriff's division out here, but also Long Beach. They're letting them know a pursuit's coming into this area. We may need your assistance. So that's what's going to happen in a situation like that. California Highway Patrol, they're primary when it's on the freeways. They handle that. They'll follow this car off the freeway, but they may hand it off to another agency. Again, if it was out of San Bernardino County, out of Joshua Tree, I'm not too sure if we have any of those units left. But again, Michael, if it was just for an expired registration, perhaps there could be a little more to it that we do not know as of yet. But law enforcement officers definitely are following this car. For some reason, they want this driver to stop. Right now, they can't even think about deploying the spike strip, number one, due to the dangerous speeds, but also the unpredictability of this driver. They do not know where this driver is headed, so that makes it a little more challenging. A lot of times we see those spike strips deployed because it's in an area where the driver continues to drive in circles or so forth, and they're familiar with an area, and it almost becomes a routine where they can almost try to set up a spike strip. They're trying to predict where the driver is heading. Right now, this isn't the case, where we are continuing continuing southbound on Santa Fe, 88 miles per hour on Surface Street. This is more of an industrial area, so if any good news, we're going to see less pedestrian traffic, less residents, considering we're not in a residential area. But Michael, it doesn't make this any less dangerous. Almost 90 miles per hour. We're approaching Pacific Coast Highway. That's going to be the next major east-west street southbound on Santa Fe. Still a very reckless pursuit here. Thank you. Oh. Yeah, Michael, this is an industrial area. A lot of the rigs are coming in and out of the ports here, big rigs, so we're going to see a lot of that traffic still going. I believe this is Alameda now. Santa Fe turned into Alameda right there, 96 miles per hour. They're still following this vehicle. I don't want to pull out, show you the law enforcement, but we do have law enforcement vehicles still behind. I'm listening to the California Highway Patrol, which means they are still the primary units. They are still following this. Earlier we passed Sepulveda. We should be coming up onto PCH. He's going to have to make a decision here because this is going to end, if I'm not mistaken, onto the 47 Terminal Island Freeway on one of these junctions down here. So this driver just blowing through red lights. If any good news, it is not a highly populated area, more industrial, but it still makes this a very dangerous pursuit, continuing now almost into the Long Beach Carson area. Yeah, absolutely. And they're, you know, we see earlier we did see pursuits end. I did see one pursuit end at the port here, but he's making a turn onto the street. It's on my pilot's side, so he's going to help us and let us know whether or not if this is a dead end. It doesn't appear to be. He's shaking his head no. News Chopper 4 pilot Aldo Bentavia is doing a great job. Not only is he flying it for us here, but he's also communicating down to the law enforcement helicopter down below. So you can see this driver continuing now. I believe we are actually going eastbound. We are still in an industrial area here. You can see the speeds as we are maneuvering the helicopter around. You can see that's why it looks like it is an industrial area, a cul-de-sac, where it may be a dead end. That's what Aldo's telling me. It's a dead end. So he's made a right turn onto this dead end street. Most likely we might see a foot bail, or he decides he sees what's happening here. He's going to back it up, and let me see if there's any law enforcement here right nearby. Yeah, we don't see any law enforcement directly behind them. I have not heard of it being in a tracking mode, but this driver obviously unfamiliar with this area, putting himself in a dead end, but he was able to turn around. There's, I thought that was the law enforcement there. He's headed back towards Alameda right now, so he'll come back onto that major intersection, and most likely we could have law enforcement there, and I don't see them right now. So you know what, Michael? We must be in a tracking mode. I'm listening to the California Highway Patrol, and it's the helicopter that's providing the information as far as his location. Yeah, tracking mode is because if a pursuit gets too dangerous, public safety is number one concern, as we always state that. They want to make sure that the public is safe. And if they're following a vehicle for a high-speed pursuit for expired tags in excess of 100 miles per hour, they may actually want to reconsider that and do a tracking mode, which means the ground units, they back out of it. And the reason why they do that is when the driver looks in the rearview mirror, they don't want the driver to see the law enforcement officers on the ground. But chances are the driver does not see the helicopter flying above. The helicopter is still tracking this driver right now. We're continuing right now here. This is, I'll get the name of the street here in a second, but the driver is continuing westbound here off of Alameda, and you can see he's starting to slow down. It appears to be a male. A lot of traffic here. Pilot's telling me some cross traffic here as we're slowing down. We'll see what happens. We're on East Anaheim Street. Do you see ground units? Yeah, and you know, Michael, I did hear something. Here's a great. This is a great shot here. We're able to see the driver right now, confirming it is a male driver stopping here. He seems to be pretty calm as far as knowing that he's been involved in a high-speed pursuit out of. I want to say Inland Empire, Joshua Tree. That's what I was trying to say. Joshua Tree. That's quite far away. That's just not around the corner. That's a long drive, well over 100 miles. So a big SUV like this, not too sure how much gas this driver has, but let me concentrate on getting, look, the driver's in a camouflage, wearing a hat right now. That's information the helicopter does relay to the officers. You know, they want to know everything they can if this driver is agitated, what he or she is doing. We do have one male driver right now. Not sure if there are any other occupants in this vehicle. Correct, and the fact that the driver got himself in an industrial area on a dead-end road, most likely he is not familiar with this area. Michael, I can tell you, as we're traveling eastbound or westbound, we're traveling westbound on Anaheim Street, we're approaching the 110 Harbor Freeway. Now, we are in LAPD's jurisdiction right now. We're in the harbor jurisdiction, so we might see LAPD units get involved to assist the California Highway Patrol. Again, what you notice as I pull out, you do not see any ground units. And the reason is they put themselves in a tracking mode to hopefully minimize the potential danger and slow that driver down. Look at the speed right now, 43 miles per hour. That worked. Driver is driving slow, not so recklessly as we saw before, obeying the traffic signs for most what he can. It looks like he's going to cut through a gas station. I know we've all done that, not wanting to wait for a red light. He's doing the same thing, and he's making a turn now. He's going up Figueroa Street. Kind of going to flip a U-ey there and maybe get back onto Anaheim. But the driver appears not to be too familiar with this area, but seems to be obeying the laws for the most part. If any good news, Michael, we're not seeing those reckless, dangerous speeds we were seeing moments ago as we just passed the 110 Harbor Freeway. Yeah, he is being tracked from the air. Big Brother is always watching you from above, and whether or not the driver realizes that. He also have several media helicopters, and this is what I thought he was going to do. We're getting back onto the 110 freeway. This is going to be the southbound 110. This pursuit, which means units will most likely be engaging here, re-engaging shortly, but they're still following this vehicle in a tracking mode south on the 110 Harbor Freeway. Yeah, and you know what, Michael, you're right. We're going to be back in LAPD territory anytime soon because, as you know, this 110 Harbor Freeway will end into the LAPD Harbor Division. So I'll try to pull up the Harbor Division here and see whether or not they will be engaging. And again, we talk about those ground units, of those officers putting themselves on the front line, the helicopter air support unit doing a great job, but also those dispatchers are working behind the scenes. They are the ones responsible for relaying any information they know about the driver, who this vehicle is registered to. They're contacting local agencies. They may have the registered address. We don't know if this person lives in this area. They may be already contacting local agencies in that area to knock on the door, find out who's home, talk to family members, who's driving this vehicle, what is their frame of mind, and they're also making calls to agencies right now, most likely LAPD, knocking on your door. We're going to have a pursuit coming into the Harbor Division. We may need your assistance. We're almost coming up to the end of the freeway here. So south on the 110 Harbor Freeway, it's going to end here in a second, just crossing over Channel Street. So he just passed Channel Street, exiting the freeway right now, south on the Harbor Freeway, not too far from the USS Iowa, I believe, just around the corner. I'm looking out the window here. So that gives you an idea of where we are in the Harbor San Pedro area. We are in San Pedro right now. We're just waiting to see if LAPD is going to assist. Definitely is. And how big is that gas tank and, you know, the fuel capacity? Trying to see whether or not there's anybody else in this vehicle here. I'm trying to find out exactly what direction where this driver is going. Let me just pull up some of these streets here for you. We're flipping Yui here in the helicopter. I'm trying to keep an eye on the sky here, so just bear with me as I try not to lose this car. But there's the vehicle still continuing. We'll get you across street here in a second. I think he's going over the Vincent Thomas Bridge. So that's where we are. We're crossing over the Vincent Thomas Bridge going eastbound. You got eyes on him, Aldo? Okay, so we are crossing over the Vincent Thomas Bridge. We'll, as he's headed back now to the Long Beach area. He's going to go right underneath us, but don't worry, we're going to maneuver this helicopter and we're going to get this shot for you. We'll manage it right here. You can see that driver somewhat slowing down, Michael. So that's a little bit of good news here. That tracking mode, it is working. That's why they do that. They want the driver to drive a little more slowly, and that's exactly what this driver is doing. I'm shooting my 6 o'clock, Aldo. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, my pilot's just telling me there's a lot of traffic up ahead. If you drive this Vincent Thomas Bridge, you know, as you get onto the east side of the span, it starts to slow down a lot, and that's what's happening right now. We're seeing a lot of big rigs in this area, a couple of passenger vehicles as well. Fortunately, we're seeing better speeds, but we're also hearing about traffic, and usually when a driver in a pursuit comes up on traffic, it makes them a little more erratic as far as their driving, but right now we're not seeing as reckless as we were seeing earlier. Still following this pursuit. Again, if you're just joining us, this pursuit began out of the Joshua Tree area, lasted well over an hour right now, and well over 100 miles per hour. We're just wondering how much further this vehicle can sustain. It's still driving, rather, considering the gas situation, but right now they are still following this pursuit here, just coming off the Vincent Thomas Bridge. They're coming in and out of the ports here, so the ports here, so that's going to be the challenge for the drivers, all the big rigs right now. But fortunately, we are not in a residential area, and we're not seeing crazy speeds about 57 miles per hour. That's normal speed for this highway. So fortunately, we're starting to see better conditions, but the driver not being engaged by ground units is most likely one of the reasons why he is slowing down. Next major intersection, really, is going to be coming up on the 710 freeway, whether or not he decides to get back onto the freeway right now, but we're continuing eastbound here. I believe this is the 47 as he's headed into the Wilmington, Long Beach area. Well, it all depends how this is going to end. Is the driver just going to pull over and wait, or does the driver get out and run and try to evade law enforcement officers? You have the helicopter above. The helicopter is continuing letting those units where this vehicle is, how fast he is driving. So if this pursuit ends and the driver runs, and really a foot bail is what they call it, he will direct the ground units where to go, all while maintaining visual of that suspect. They'll try to to see where this where the driver rather goes, and they will let the ground units know exactly the location. So the helicopters assisting to get the ground units to where this person will be. Now, if the person just decides to pull over, that'll make it a lot easier. The ground units will come up and most likely try to get this driver out, summoning those commands. Most likely, Michael, we always talk about this, the resources readily available, there probably is a K9. They do have a K9 usually in one of the primary positions for that very reason. If the driver decides to run, sometimes they will use that resource in order to safely apprehend the driver. Yes, well, then there you go. At least he's doing that. That's great right now. But and Michael, again, I'm glad to see, because when we first got in this pursuit, we were seeing speeds almost 110 miles per hour. So he is slowing down, and I think he's going to be getting onto the 710 freeway here. Is he getting on the 710 freeway here? Pilot's letting me know now he is making this transition, and most likely this is going to put him back onto the 710, the Long Beach Freeway, and that's going to put him on the northbound side. So, Michael, in a way, we're kind of headed back to where this driver was driving earlier, but I don't think he's going to be able to make it back to Joshua Tree. I just lost him. I lost him. I lost him, Aldo. I lost him in that. Michael, let me get back to you here. I just lost the vehicle here under this this freeway here. Let me get back to you. I got to find the vehicle. Aldo, I lost him. No, I don't. You got to help me, Aldo. Where's the pink semi? Okay, there's the pink semi. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Aldo. Thank you, Aldo. Jesus. Okay, I'm back with you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, guys, I'm back with you. Yeah, we do, Michael. It gets a little hard following him, especially if we lose him, because there's no law enforcement behind this driver. But we just saw a law enforcement vehicle, might be California Highway Patrol, coming up on this vehicle right now. We are on the northbound side of the 710 freeway, approaching Pacific Coast Highway. Northbound 710 here. Don't want to pull out too much, but I did see California Highway Patrol behind. So we're continuing on that Long Beach Freeway. Speeds relatively low considering what we saw earlier. Looks like he may be touching about 85 miles per hour. Next major freeway is going to be the 405. Remember, this driver started this pursuit out of Joshua Tree, westbound on the 10 freeway to the southbound 605 along the 91 to the Harbor Freeway, driving along surface streets, and now we're back on the 710 through the area of Long Beach. We're in the city of Long Beach on the freeway. Northbound 710 will be approaching the 405 here in about 2 miles. And the driver can either make a transition onto the 405, go north or south, or continue on the 710 freeway. Only time will tell on what this driver decides to do. Yeah, it's hard, don't want to speculate that. I was listening to traffic on our way to the pursuit. I was listening, and they were talking about possible other occupants in the vehicle. All that is unconfirmed right now. It's not vetted yet, so we don't know if there's any other people in this vehicle. However, you do want to consider something. If this vehicle was just simply, they try to simply initiate a traffic stop as we make a transition out to the 405 freeway, initiate a traffic stop for just an expired registration, it's highly unlikely that they would continue this pursuit out of Joshua Tree all the way into LA County. Now, maybe they are, but it only kind of makes you wonder whether or not if there's anything else that perhaps they are familiar with this driver and they do want to talk to this driver for a particular reason. Is he wanted for something else? These are all questions that may have already been answered. Dispatchers, again, working behind the scenes, they are relaying all this information to local law enforcement. And when we talk about that, really all it takes is they run the license plate. And when they run the license plate, it has all the information of who the owner is, who the driver is, and whether or not the driver has any wants or warrants, anything of that nature. So whether or not there's this person is outstanding for anything may be indicative as to why we're continuing this pursuit. We're now making this transition onto the 405 freeway northbound, coming into the Carson area. So we'll be seeing the South Bay curve here not too long on the northbound 405, just passing the 710 freeway. You know, it makes it a little more dicey. They want to make sure if there are juveniles or if there are any other occupants in this vehicle, what is the nature of the relationship? You know, do they know each other? Is it, you know, is this a parent? Is this a relative? I mean, it's a situation like that. And now it kind of escalates the situation because not only are you dealing with the driver who is evading local law enforcement, but now you possibly have passengers and they don't want them to get hurt in this process as well. So it kind of makes it a little more dicey situation as they have to be a little more careful. Are they going to do an evasive pit maneuver? Well, if we have innocent people in the car, and when I say innocent, nobody's guilty right now. What I mean is just a couple of passengers maybe in the back seat. They want to minimize risk of injury to those passengers as well as the driver, but it just kind of makes them change their sequence of events of what they will do, how they will handle certain situations. Possibly if it becomes a standoff, we've seen it before. We're not saying this is going to happen, but in the past we've seen the drivers refusing to get out, and it escalates the situation because if you do have somebody in the back seat of the vehicle, you also have to consider that. You're probably not going to deploy any tear gas or any pepper pellets into the vehicle if you know you have passengers and you don't know really the nature of the relationship or exactly who they are. Right, there is, and you know the reality is that you have a watch commander who's watching this, and you know every time we cover a pursuit, the primary unit, they're calling out the position, they're calling out the speed, and they're calling out the traffic conditions. So, you know, if they're doing reckless 100 miles per hour in heavy traffic, chances are they'll put it in a tracking mode, and that's what we saw earlier, was in a tracking mode. So right now we're seeing, I want to say, speeds within, well, we're going about 90 at times, but we're on a freeway right now. So we're on the 405 northbound, just approaching, I believe we're going to be coming up on the 110 Harbor Freeway here, just near the Goodyear blimp. So, you know, it just all depends how reckless the driver is driving. Michael, when we first started covering this pursuit, the driver was weaving in and out of traffic lanes. We saw speeds in excess of 100 miles per hour, and you can see with our speedometer there to the lower left of your screen, holding steady about 77. Now, that is dangerous because it's a pursuit, but relatively safe speeds considering we're on a Southern California highway. Yeah, I think it is a hand perhaps trying to get a little air in that vehicle. No, in fact, maybe it's just an optical illusion here. His hand is on the let's say steering wheel. The window has been put down a little, so I think that's different now. We've seen the window he's rolled down the window a little. But 405 freeway northbound, let me show you where we are. Let me pull back a little here. I'm confident we can still maintain this driver here. 405 freeway northbound, approaching the 110 Harbor Freeway, about 78 miles per hour in the number 2 lane. We don't have any ground units directly behind, but California Highway Patrol helicopter flying above, relaying the information down to officers below. I'm looking outside, and you're not going to like this, but it is wide open. And again, you know, when we say that, it's just because it invites dangerous speeds. You know, for the time being right now, the driver is driving only about, we're seeing going between 60 and 80 miles per hour, but not reckless. You can drive fast, but he's not driving reckless, weaving in and out of lanes, which we saw earlier. Local law enforcement, most likely they're aware, they're watching TV, they're prepared if whether or not he exits here in this area. This is still LAPD jurisdiction. We're coming up on Alameda, 405 freeway northbound at Alameda, bordering Sheriff's Division as well, so the Century Division. So, you know, you have other agencies who are most likely aware of this pursuit. If it goes on to surface streets, we may see some additional units. They could render assistance if necessary, but as long as this driver stays on the 405 freeway, continues northbound, we're going to go into the South Bay, head up towards the LAX area, and then that's where things will change just a little as far as staying above and following him. Aldo, who's the helicopter that's flying? Who's the law enforcement helicopter? Thank you. Hey, Booth, turn off my mic and I can give you information. Hey, Booth. Mic's off. There are children in the vehicle, an 8-year-old, at least one 8-year-old. They're not there. They think this might be the father. So how do you want me to say it? There is at least an 8-year-old in this vehicle. Roger. Yeah, we are. We're seeing slower speeds. You know, Michael, I am hearing reports that there's more than one occupant. We're just going to wait to see how the desk wants to put this out. But this probably is the reason why they are continuing following this pursuit, considering that there are other people in this vehicle right now. So the nature of the relationship, we do not know. We can tell you, though, this pursuit out of Joshua Tree is starting to slow down now. Whether or not it's some traffic here, or I thought maybe he started running out of gas, but looks like that's not the case. Here's Highway Patrol, oddly enough, passing the car. But he's continuing. Looks like he saw that Highway Patrol officer and decided to exit here. So it's a little odd there, but the driver is exiting here. We'll get you this off-ramp here in 1 second. Yeah, you know, right now he's exiting Hawthorne Boulevard. I think it's a delicate situation. There are some other occupants in this vehicle exiting Hawthorne Boulevard. Right there, you can see that was the police helicopter. So we do have the California Highway Patrol helicopter down below. Not sure why that other unit did not engage, or rather just passed the vehicle. Could be that maybe they were in a different jurisdiction. Maybe it wasn't CHP. I'm not too sure. I didn't get a good glimpse, but that was a little unusual. But what is good is the driver is obeying the traffic laws, not putting anybody else's lives at risk right now, stopping at this red light. We have exited the 405 freeway northbound at Hawthorne Boulevard, just waiting to make what it appears may be a left-hand turn, and fortunately this driver is waiting for the light to turn green. I'm going to be careful not to lose him here, although this is going to be challenging here. There he is. It's getting back on the 405 South. Copy. Yes. We're getting back on the freeway right now. We're going back onto the 405 freeway southbound. Sorry, I don't know if you were talking to earlier. I may miss some of your talks there if you were calling me. 405 southbound here. I'm trying to monitor the information here from the California Highway Patrol, but again, we exited Hawthorne Boulevard off the 405 northbound. Driver made a left turn and they got right back onto the freeway. So, Michael, we're kind of going back into the Long Beach area, southbound 405, about 59 miles per hour here. You can see coming into the Inglewood area, drivers actually slowing down substantially, which is good news. Okay, Booth. Am I allowed to say minors in the vehicle or no? This is what the dispatchers are indicating, that there is at least an 8-year-old in the 8-year-old in the vehicle. That's probably why they're still following it. You want me to mention that? We talked about minors. I'll just say a minor. I won't specify the age. Is that okay? Unconfirmed. You got it. Thank you for that clarification. Thank you. I'm ready to go. Well, we're on the southbound side of the 405 freeway. We should be making our way out of the Torrance area, coming into the Carson area. Next freeway, I believe, is going to be the 110 Harbor Freeway. Now, Michael, unconfirmed reports. Again, a lot of the information that we hear are from the law enforcement officials, but we do hear that unconfirmed that there is a minor in this vehicle, which is probably would give us the answer as to why would they pursue a vehicle out of Joshua Tree all the way into LA County. Well, there was more to it. So again, the information we don't know is what's the nature of the relationship, who exactly is that person in the vehicle, but unconfirmed reports. I am listening to dispatch. They're doing a great job relaying the information to the ground units, but they are indicating that there is a minor in the vehicle, and fortunately, Michael, we're seeing safer speeds here, but this driver is still refusing to stop as we're approaching the southbound 405 here just before the 110 Harbor Freeway, coming up on the Alameda exit. Yeah. No, that's the, and Michael, I know you were doing the math earlier, how many miles per gallon they get and the capacity of the fuel tank. It really is just a ticking time clock right now as to when this vehicle is going to run out of gas. I mean, coming out of the Joshua Tree area, down most likely Highway 62 onto the 10 freeway, out to Palm Springs, that's 100-mile drive at least. I do it all the time to visit my mom in Palm Springs, so I know that drive. It is about 110 miles getting into the LA County area. So right now, considering that we've been driving a lot beyond that, we're at least most likely about 100 and I would say almost 200 miles since this pursuit started. So well over 200 miles an hour. You just do the 200 miles rather driven, just do the calculations, and that pretty much will tell you how much further this driver potentially can go. But I can't tell you where he is right now. He just made the transition from the 405 southbound to the South 110 Harbor Freeway. Speed's only about 77 miles per hour. Yeah, kind of made that last minute turn. But Michael, you know, we're starting to come into an area. Not too sure if the driver is familiar with this area now. Even though this started out of Joshua Tree, we seem to be favoring this particular area. We're coming back to the 110 freeway, staying near the 47, near the 710 Long Beach Freeway. Now, we did go on the 405 up through the South Bay and Torrance, exited Hawthorne Boulevard, but went right back onto the southbound 405, back onto the 110 Harbor Freeway. We have been here before. It's going to exit into the San Pedro area. Most likely LAPD Harbor Division officers will be standing by just in case. Are they going to do a spike strip? It's one of those situations, Michael, considering that if we do have minors in the vehicle, really what officers want to do right now is de-escalate the situation. They don't want to elevate it. They don't want this driver to drive any recklessly. If considering worse what we saw earlier, right now the driver is driving somewhat at minimal speed, so they don't want to escalate that situation. They just want to wait until the driver either decides to pull over or whether or not this vehicle runs out of gas. Absolutely, and considering if this driver does take this to the end of the freeway where we were before, are we going to go on the same path? Are we going to go across the Vincent Thomas Bridge? But you know, right now the tracking mode is working. We still have the California Highway Patrol helicopter air support division relaying information down to officers. We don't see any ground units. They're staying relatively little traffic southbound 110 freeway, just passing Sepulveda. You know, sometimes we see speeds touching 87 miles per hour, but there's no other traffic here. It's not safe driving that fast, but it's not reckless that we saw earlier. So the driver still seems to be more in a calm demeanor right now. That's what officers want. They want to de-escalate the situation, especially if we do have a minor in this vehicle. Yeah, and that's where dispatchers are so crucial in a situation like this, because they're the ones who are getting and obtaining all that information. Michael, I can tell you right now without doubt, they know who the driver is. You know, whether or not they know the relationship of the minor in the vehicle, again, unconfirmed, but that's what we heard as we're exiting now Pacific Coast Highway. Looks like he may be setting up for a left turn here, waiting for that cross traffic. So he's going to come out underneath here. Let me just wait to see when he comes out, because sometimes they'll try to pull a fast one and do a U-turn, and they lose. We don't lose them, but also the police helicopter loses them as well. So I believe that is the driver. That is the vehicle. Yeah, just want to make sure. Sometimes, Michael, they all look alike from above here, these cars. But right now, I think that is the right vehicle. Michael, it's hard to follow sometimes because there's no ground units. But Michael, now we're coming into a residential area. Can be a game changer. So maybe this driver is familiar with this area and is driving into an area where he is familiar with. And now we might see some ground units. LAPD, this is your jurisdiction, so we may actually see them as he's coming up here on the street here. I'll give this to you in a second. Okay, then that's good. I'm glad they've confirmed it. But yeah, that's what I've been hearing all along. We wanted to be very careful putting out information, especially of that nature, and get the confirmation. I did hear the ages of the minors. I don't think that's important right now. I don't want to put that out. But the most important thing is officers know this is a very delicate situation. Michael, that's why we're not seeing any pit maneuvers or anything like that. Again, they don't want to escalate this driver and his emotions. They want him to be as calm as possible, considering we do have 2 minors in this vehicle right now. We're going southbound on Wilmington Avenue. Southbound on Wilmington Avenue. We're still in the LAPD Harbor Division area. No. He's turning into this apartment. Yeah, and you know what? There's people right there. There's somebody right there. Okay, so obviously he knows these people here. I'll just get that building out of our way. We're going to get this building out of the way here, and most likely they're going to there, okay, good. There's our canine. There's our canine. Fortunately, this is going to come to a safe ending right now. This is on North Wilmington Boulevard here, where apparently now officers are summoning this driver to come out. Aldo, please set me up. You're shooting 6 o'clock, Aldo. Foot pursuit, he's running southbound. Here he goes, guys. He's going to get caught. They're going to catch him in a second, so no problem. Officer just lost his radio, but he's going to... Whoa, officer took a really bad fall there, but he's going to get his guy here. We're running southbound on Wilmington. We're trying to get us a little closer so we can see it as he makes a turn here. We're going to try to get around this building here, but it's just going to be a matter of time. Hopefully we'll see him come out right on this side, unless if he runs into this particular apartment building right here. There he is, Aldo. There he is. Yeah, no, yeah, the children are safe. That's the good news. Driver's still running. It's just going to be a matter of time here. It may come out here and be greeted by officers. You see that helicopter that just came into our shots. That's the CHP helicopter coordinating. He's running back toward Wilmington, but officers do have this area surrounded. There's the officer who took a fall, but he's going to get his guy. They're going to tackle him. Boom! There he is. Got him on the ground. Great job by LAPD. I believe that was LAPD right there getting that suspect tackled. You can see the canine right there. The canine was ready to be deployed. They really didn't want to release that dog in the neighborhood, but look at that dog. That dog wants to go, but the good news is they've got their suspect in custody, and even better news, the 2 children who were in that vehicle have been safely reunited. We've made with other people right now, but they are safe as well. Yeah, definitely. I mean, it just shows how quickly a situation can change. Once that driver got those 2 minors out of the vehicle, he actually tried to drive away, but he couldn't. He was boxed in by law enforcement officers, and because of that, he decided to run. Didn't take him too long, but that LAPD officer right there on his knees to the left of him, he took a little hard fall, but you know what? He ended up getting his guy in the long run. Great job with LAPD, California Highway Patrol, all agencies as well as the dispatchers bringing this pursuit to a safe end. You know, but most likely maybe the driver, we've seen it in the past, talk on a cell phone to family members, and it's not unusual if they do have a passenger in the vehicle. We have seen it before in the past where they will coordinate an effort to try to get the person out of the vehicle. We don't know the relation, and I just want to amend this. That was California Highway Patrol who were following this vehicle, and those are, I believe, are California Highway Patrol officers who did the initial takedown. So they did a great job there. But again, it's something we have seen in the past. We don't know the nature of the relationship of all these people, but this is another situation here for officer safety. You start getting a large crowd here. Emotions are definitely flared up right now, especially if those are family members. So they are calling for some additional units for crowd control. It seems to be peaceful right now. We don't imagine anything would escalate, but they are trying to apprehend the suspect peacefully while maintaining calm with these individuals who might be family members. Can you get... Okay, Aldo, do me a favor. My pleasure. Thank you, guys. Let's try to see if we... Well, you know what? They're going to get them up. We'll see it. I don't know where the kids are. Whew, let me turn my scanner up. That was hard. Okay, so they're off rendering medicals. Hey, you want to see if, where's the van? I just want to see the van, whether or not if they're the kids there. He's not going anywhere right now. I highly doubt it, but we'll just double check. I'll get them. They're going to want plates, by the way, before we leave. Let me just try to see what it looks like here. I was talking about something with them. I like this angle here. Let's see where the driver is. I like this angle here. Let's keep this here if you don't mind. The power line's going to come into your way here. Denon and I'm in Denon. Okay, here we go. We're getting a large crowd. Okay, let me look where it ended right here. Okay, guys, I'm going to turn off the IFB since we're done with the pursuit. I'm turning off the IFB. Desk, I have you on the 161 and the 450. Yeah, I don't see the miners here. Let me try to get them a tight shot of the driver.